Affirmation, discovering the missing piece to abundant health, wealth, love, and happiness. This is Bill Moyes. I'm a CPA. Well, most success coaches teach the idea of affirmation. It's a simple statement of something you want to be true. It might be I am rich, or I am skinny, or whatever you want. But why don't affirmations work? Well, right now you live in your current perceived reality. It's right here. And over here is your new desired reality. In between is a big gulf. And your mind struggles with how do you get from here to there. You really don't believe it. That's the biggest single problem. So instead, ask a question. Ask a affirmation question. The question is simply an expression of an inquiry that calls for a reply. When you ask a question, what happens? Your mind immediately begins to search for the answer. And quite often, it relies on our subconscious mind to find that answer. Instead of asking ourselves negative questions, why don't we ask why we don't have certain things? Instead, reverse the process. Now these questions look something like this. We're looking for money. We might say, how can I make more money without sacrificing my family, my values, and my freedom? Want to lose weight? Ask, how can I lose weight, be healthy, and still enjoy the foods I want? Business, how can I grow my business and attract more customers without struggling? So your mind will call for an automatic search function. This means when you ask a question, your mind automatically begins to search for the answer. Dr. Napoleon Hill gave a great example in his book, How to Unlock the Power of Our Unconscious Mind. He didn't like the word subconscious because he didn't really feel like it was sub to our cognitive mind, our reasoning. So he had worked on his book, the research for his book, for 20 years, and he'd been working several months for a great title for his book, and he was struggling to find it. And he had hundreds of possible answers, but not the right answer, not the right title. So one day his publisher called him up and said, "Look at Hill, if you don't have a good title by tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, I'm calling your book, How to Use Your Noodle to Get a Boodle." Well, Dr. Hill said, "That'd be mind doing." Publisher said, "That's the name, unless you get me a better one." So that night, he gave his unconscious mind a thrashing and said, "I demand of you $1 million title. What is $1 million title for my book?" In the middle of the night at 2 o'clock, he woke up with the name, Think and Grow Rich. That went on to sell hundreds of millions of copies. So ask yourself the right question, and you'll be surprised when you get the answer. Here's a couple of examples of questions you might ask. For example, why am I so happy? Why do I have enough money? Why is it so easy to lose weight? Why am I enough? I met a man recently, his name was Cliff, a friend of mine working for quite a while, and he was a very successful entrepreneur. But he started his career out as a young man with the Dallas Cowboys. He was a ball boy from 1961 to 1972. I'm sorry, 1962 to 1971. And so he met all the greats, Roger Staubach, Coach Landry. He'd go across the hall and meet the visiting team, and he'd take a program with them and have them autograph it. And so he got to know all the players and the pros. After he graduated from college, and many years later, then he lived in L.A., and the Cowboys traded a backup quarterback to Denver. And that quarterback invited Cliff up to Denver to visit him and his wife in their new home, and they wanted to visit. So they had a great weekend. And at the end of the weekend, they said, "Cliff, we think you should be a professional sports agent." At that time, only attorneys were agents. And so Cliff asked himself a very good question. He said, how could I be a successful professional sports agent? So that day on the way home, on the plane, he had 20-page handwritten document, and which was his business plan. Next day, he called a friend and said, "Hey, I got this great idea. I need $150,000. Do you know anybody that might help me?" And his friend said, "Yeah, call this businessman. I think he'll help you out." So they met. That next day, he showed him his handwritten business plan, and the man said, "Well, that's the best business plan I've ever read. How much do you need?" Cliff said, $150,000. He said, "Great. I'll give you $75,000 today and $75,000 in 6 months." Cliff said, "Done." So then the man asked Cliff, "Who do I write the check out to?" And Cliff said, "Well, leave it blank. I don't have a company name yet." So that day, Cliff got the name, wrote the check, deposited it, and then he called the high school coach friend of his and said, I'm starting this new business. I want you to join me. I want you to work with the young kids because I only know the pros. I don't know the kids. And his friend said, you bet. They talked to his wife and they prayed it over and they said, okay, let's do it. So that first week, got their first client. A young man was going to sign with the Saints for $30,000 a year and $3,000 signing bonus. That was a scale then. And Cliff negotiated a $45,000 salary with a $5,000 signing bonus because the general manager knew that Cliff really cared about those guys because they all end up broke. Most of them end up broke anyways. So Cliff went from zero to becoming the largest sports agent in the United States at that time. He had over 400 clients in 1 year's time. So he asked that affirmation question. So here's a couple questions I ask myself every day. I go through my major definite purposes defined by Dr. Napoleon Hill, and I have a couple minor purposes, and that's where I put my affirmations in. So here's what I have. How easy is it to attract wealth and abundance? How easy is it to acquire a new, better dream home? How easy it is to purchase a new GMC, a new Chevy, four-wheel drive high country by July 1st? How easy it is to attract one capital partner each week? So I added the word easy. Just not asking the question, but I'm telling my mind it's easy to get these things. It's not a problem. It's not a problem for your mind. Just come up with the guidance. So in summary, affirmations are more powerful than positive thinking. It uses your mind's automatic search function. This means when you ask a question, your mind automatically begins to search for the answer. So my topic today came from this book here, Affirmations by Noah St. John. It's a great book. I encourage you to get it. Best $20 you can spend. This is Bill Moist. Until next time, this is Affirmations.